Are you just a flutter over the news of classified documents? I went in for a colonoscopy this weekend. I have top secret. Apparently, what they found: no polyps.
Inside.
Inside. I didn't even know I had it. Top secret.
You're gonna have to hand those over to the FBI.
Oh no, they're in there right now.
Oh, John, I have bad news. If they found him in there, that's not a top secret. That's a bottom secret.
Jay, beautifully done. Well done. And this is now Mike Pence apparently has classified information in his house.
There's more. The Mike Pence information, the classified docs were just ladies in suggestive dress. I think that's what they found. I think a woman was wearing, she shaved above the knee.
Yes.
And I think he's in big trouble.
He is not allowed to read documents unless his wife is present with him.
Please don't show mother my phone.
That's right. I'm going to ask both of you a question.
Yes.
Have either of you ever been fired?
Ooh. I've had a company close and I was one of the people who was let go, but I've never been fired. Wait a second. John, why are you saying this today on the podcast this way?
Let me explain.
Okay.
Yes.
I've been fired a lot.
Uh-huh.
I've been canceled. I've had a show with my name on it where they call down and go, get the fuck out of the building. And we're changing the locks. And I never took shit that later on I'd be like, oh, I shouldn't have taken that shit. Like, I've had to evacuate in the manner that is like, the place is on fire, get out. And I never took shit that wasn't mine. These guys, you lose in November. You don't leave until January. You're telling me, and all the shit that you're not supposed to take has giant letters on it that say, don't take this. How the fuck does this happen?
I'm going to play devil's advocate for these guys here. They live there. They live there. How many times have you moved? A bunch of shit you didn't expect to take makes it over to the next place. You know, you find a team building shirt from an event in 97. You're like, this should have gone in the trash.
But it was mine.
That's true.
Wasn't, I don't find like Viacom and MTV folders and shit or their property, especially if it says that. Like, this is crazy.
In Trump's defense, he wasn't planning to leave on the day he had to leave. You know, that guy packed in a hurry.
All right. So his was more a case of just emotional denial and upset.
Yes, but can I tell you why I think this is why it's hard for me to care is because we just overclassify.
The whole system is utterly busted.
Like some classified stuff is so kind of like tangential or circumstantial. They're like, well, the reason we can't keep this napkin is because now we're going to know what restaurant. We can never go back. You know.
It's a web. And I'm sure, listen, if there's a little note that's like, men I've killed while president. Okay. I'll give you that.
Yeah. But I will say, I love the Biden slow drip here. He's like a magician just pulling the handkerchief constantly, but it's just classified documents. Like every time you think it's done.
But it's only a slow drip because the media is broken. It's broken. Nobody has any idea of the context of this. And all they're doing now is they're trying to one up. Trump had them in a storage facility. Biden had them by his car. Trump had them in a toaster oven. He was giving them out like mints at the end of a meal at a diner. Like, or they're talking about like, does this make the 2024 matchup more even? Like, they're fucking broken.
But it's also like, I don't want to minimize this, but you're telling me a 74-year-old and an 80-year-old have stuff at the old house? I believe it. I also expect Biden to be like, and also, could you check in the fridge in the garage? I think it's some good deer meat in there. It's not going to go bad. Try that.
Like that's such a great defense that it was in the garage with the Corvette. No one goes in there besides my mechanic Sergeyev. You know, that guy can do an oil change with just a document scanner. It's amazing.
I think the best defense that I've heard so far is the one Jay just proffered, which is, I'm old. I don't know.
Some of it could easily be like his grandkids' birthday cards. Like, there's so much stuff sometimes that when they keep finding stuff, they're like 6 items, but they haven't specified. So, like, here's the difference for me, is that Trump was like, hey, take a look have y'all seen these? And Biden was like, hey, someone look, have y'all seen these?
Right. Here's the part I can't get over. It's all fucking stamped. It's all stamped classified. So if anybody in any way is sorting this shit, it feels like you would take that stuff and put it to one side. And it just speaks to me of the entitlement that comes from that position. That position is, we all like to point at Nixon and say, when he says it's not illegal if the president does it. But the truth is they all fucking think that way. Every single one of them.
Do you think that it's like kind of unspoken rules? Or do you think it's malevolence?
I don't think it's malevolence. I think it is the entitlement that comes with. It's like this. And the only other business that I've ever been around that's like this is show business. Have you ever been to a premiere and you see, and there's some seats, even in the heightened world of show business, that are taped off. And that's where Scott Rudin's going to sit. But if somebody tries to sit there, everybody who's all dressed in black and wearing their headsets fucking goes bananas. And because security has been breached, this artificial bar that should never have been set in the first place, because it's just set based on entitlement and ego. And if you breach this clearance that's arbitrary, the whole place goes bananas. That's what I think it is. I don't think it's malevolence. I think it's a manner of being accustomed to a position where if you press a button, they have to bring you a Diet Coke.
This is like what you talk about. This is like orthodoxy. These are rules that we've kind of ingrained where we go, oh, we can't do anything different ever.
I think they also know, but they know, they've seen the unredacted docs. They know it's bullshit. So they're not as careful as they should be because they know it's newspaper articles and open source intelligence half the time.
But don't you now see, though, why Snowden, why Assange, why Reality Winner, why Chelsea Man were so dangerous to them? I mean, like WikiLeaks is just basically like, hey, somebody sent us a bunch of shit and we're just putting it out there. Like, but the others just exposed programs. These are programs. There's this program that's sucking up everything you've ever thought. And the government is doing it. By the way, to protect you. Don't worry about it. If you're not doing anything wrong, nothing's going to. And they had to get sent away. That's how pernicious this system is.
I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat. See, that's why
Come on,
black conspiracy theories are just shit that white folks haven't learned about yet. I'm telling you, it's all this shit. Because I have like 3 uncles who worked in the military. It was like, they working on some shit, right? And I was like, okay, Uncle RJ, he's like, okay, they're just working on some shit. Right. Or even anyone who said, them folks listening, and you go, who? Them folks.
Well, anything that we talk about that is shocking to us, like, they experimented on people, and black people are like, yeah.
I can call my granddaddy.
You mean Tuskegee? You mean, yeah. And that, by the way, and that's the shit they declassify, which they're never going to declassify anything that may cast a bad light on the way that this all operates. And even when they say, like, we'll declassify it in 30 years, even then, they arbitrarily decide, well, not this stuff. This stuff is so sensitive as to it would be detrimental to the national security.
And then you just get a redacted document that just says, like a preposition peep show, just like black bars and 2 or 3 words, and you just have to infer what that could be.
You know what I always find interesting, though, is the more you dig into like the 30s, the more you realize like the progressive hero that was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, he had some dark shit going on. I mean, forget about like the stuff that we all know, interning of the Japanese, but like, he was designing talk about breaking democratic norms. Roosevelt's the guy who's like, 2 terms, fuck that. Like all those different things. And that's really where this new security state arose. And I thought it was so stunning when he was saying, it was right after the Nuremberg trials that the American medical establishment within the security zone or the military medical were like, oh, those experiments you're saying, that's a crime against humanity. Okay.
That's the wild part. After they've like basically like had a vivisection and like open. They experimented on kids and old people and GIs with radiology, and then they were like, "Oh, that's bad."
Should we not have offered Dr. Mengele a job? Is that the wrong thing to do?
Well, I want to ask you two
about the Jews? Is this about the Jews, Jeff?
Yes.
Typical.
I know that was coming.
Here we go.
Son of a bitch.
Here we
have
go.
to
We had
ask.
nothing to do with it.
No, nothing to do with that. Oh my God. Well, now at least I'll get some free Nets merch. Okay, so my question truly is that when he said, well, like during this whole thing, if you were anything but a white Christian male who was also straight, like they were like, well, Jews spill secrets too. Like that's an insane level of like, that's when you make the bar to be able, when you make the bar of entry so high, then you're like, of course.
But isn't that voting? Isn't that poll taxes? Isn't that so whatever we need to do to perpetrate, power doesn't cede itself. So whatever system we need to design, Jews are short. What if we make it so that to work in the government, you have to be able to dunk? You know what I mean? Like the systems are designed to perpetuate power. Always.
It was fascinating also to hear him talk about this in a way that was so much bigger and so much more helpful than what we're hearing now. Because what I saw yesterday is John Bolton saying, this is a problem for Biden. What I saw yesterday was Joe Manchin being like, I have some concerns. But this was actually, it was fruitful. There was something to this that wasn't just like, and another point for this side.
I thought it was also interesting that like this is when you're talking classified documents, that like deep state type of thing can really come up, and he really counteracted that with like the Kushner thing of like it's basically the deep state being like this guy should not have clearance, and the president can say, well, fuck you, deep state. I'm the president. I'm just doing it.
Right, and the deep state is like the Borg. I think if I was to say there's anything that is intentional and designed about this, it would be that in an effort to protect the truly despicable and shocking, we are going to cover you in an avalanche of the banal. And so the classification system is just, it's make anything trying to find a pony in a landfill with a sea of manure, a needle in a haystack.